Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton, a narcoleptic comedian, and this is a podcast where I interview people in my bed and we talk about sleep, comedy, relationships, and sex. For my 27th episode, I interviewed comedian Prateek Srivastava. Before we get into the interview, I do have a couple things I want to plug. I've been writing a pilot with a fellow Chicago comedian, and we have a staged reading for our pilot this Saturday, September 17th at 7 p.m. at I.O. at the Chris Farley Cabaret. We've got some amazing people reading for us, including Greg Holloman of Strangers with Candy, Kristen Lumberg, Amanda Lindeal, and more. You can also catch me tomorrow night, Thursday, September 15th at 8 p.m. at Beer Miscuous. And you can see Prateek Srivastava, a great stand-up comedian in Chicago. He's going to be opening for Azar Usman's one-man show at the Silk Road Theater on September 16th, as well as on September 23rd, he has Simba Brown Comedy at North Bar in Wicker Park. You can also follow him on Twitter at The Daily Prateek. That's The Daily Prateek. Sleeping with Sarah is brought to you by Audible.com. You can go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah to get a free audiobook of your choice. This week, I'd like to recommend Yes Please by Amy Poehler. Again, that's audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah. If you like this podcast, please subscribe on iTunes or iHeartRadio and rate and review. You can also go to sleepingwithsarah.com for more information and follow me on Twitter at Sarah Albritton. Well, let's get started with the show. Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton, and this is my guest, Prateek Srivastava.
Hey, hello everybody.
How'd you sleep last night, Prateek?
Yesterday actually was a really good sleep. I've been going through this phase of sleeping right now where I'll sleep and then I'll wake up at 8 a.m. Just like that burst of I'm up, and then I won't fall asleep for an hour. So I've literally, this whole week, I've been getting up at 8 and going on the computer, sending emails or doing what I have to do, and then I'll fall back asleep at 9 a.m.
Oh, nice. So you have an hour of real productive energy.
I've had to modify and be fuck, I gotta be productive for this hour because I'm just not falling asleep. For some reason, the hour of 8 to 9, it doesn't matter when I went to sleep. I could have gone to sleep at 12 or 3 or
6
4.
in the morning.
Yeah, but for some reason at 8, I don't know if it's some weird jet lag thing or something, but it's been happening all week. But
because you were traveling, right?
Yeah, I've been on the West Coast. It could be a little bit of that the time change thing, And
But still, wait, West Coast time, that would be 6 a.m. though.
Yeah, so I don't know, and I wasn't getting up that early. I mean, I tend to notice that if it's the summertime, I'll fall asleep. I'll get up earlier just because the sunlight helps wake me up. Whereas in the winter, I won't have this problem. No. I know for a fact, as soon as it gets cold, I will have no problem sleeping through 8 a.m.
Gotcha. Does your room get a lot of sunlight? Is that the...
No, I actually have a shade. I just got a shade installed on my window because you gotta modify. I gotta upkeep my own room. Landlord ain't paying for that.
See,
shit.
you know, when you're reaching adulthood, for guys, I think when they actually take the time to do their room or do things.
You have to. I had some paintings up. My mom used to be a painter. Actually, she used to be a watercolor designer. So I had some paintings up. My sister moved back from college, so she wanted those paintings back. So she took them back. So right now I've not had a chance to put up some new paintings. So right now my walls are bare. So people might think I'm a serial killer. Not a serial killer for all your listeners. But in terms of shade and all, yeah, you gotta put. If you don't have a shade, you should put a shade up. You want a little privacy.
Exactly.
I wasn't a big futon on the floor kind of person. I don't know if you ever did that.
Oh no, I didn't. But guys do that. That's how I had a bit for a while that I was you can tell the difference between the guy in their 20s and their 30s when they take you home, because the guy in his 20s got a mattress on the floor.
Yeah.
The guy in his 30s, everything looks like a Crate and Barrel catalog. Everything. Everything matches, but there's no personality to it.
No personality. I mean, they took the display models literally.
Exactly. That's what they do, and but you can really tell if a guy's got a sister that helped him out with it, though.
Sure. Yeah. And I've had my sister help me a little bit, but my thing was just I had a cousin who he slept 2 years in college on a futon on the floor. His back is still messed up. And that scared me.
Well, I mean, but also, how are you going to bring a girl home if you got a futon on the floor? How is that?
I don't know how that works. I have to try too many things just to get, people to enjoy my company in a romantic sort of way. So the guy that can have, the dirty artist that can sleep with a girl on the futon on the floor, more power to them. But I don't have that capability.
Yeah, if I ever, like, went home with the guys, I mean, like, I probably did that in college, but I was like, you know, and just like, no, just like, if you're gonna have a bed, you might as well, you know, get a bed, you know.
Get a bed, you know, get some accoutrements, get a candle. Candle or two ain't bad.
Yeah.
I don't know what candle scent that is, but
oh yeah, I always like do that before because makes the room smell very good.
What's flavor is that?
It's I don't even know. I just bought a bunch. Like it's like some sort of like fruity passion fruit. Passion fruit something or other.
I think that's the actual name, something or another. I know the something or other.
Yeah,
it's
passion fruit something or other. That should be everything. It should be lemon something or other, watermelon something or other.
There's some like deep valley in California called something or other where you can get your passion fruits and your lemons and your what's it have it. So it's pretty secluded.
Is there some something or other wine too?
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
It gets better with meh.
I like that. Do you have any sleep issues in general, or do you sleep pretty normal aside from the waking up?
Generally speaking, I've not had too much. I did have a period where I snored a little bit though, but snoring like runs in my family. Like my father's a deep snorer. My sister also has some snoring issues. But it kind of just went away.
Well, that's good. Well, I heard like if you like sometimes if you like lose weight or things like that, it helps with that.
I've heard that too, that losing weight a lot, and then I've cut down on drinking over the past 3-4 years, and I know that I've heard that people who drink more they tend to snore a little bit.
Or you drink more the night you snore more the night you drink.
Yeah, or they have like a long tongue. Like I have a buddy who has a longer tongue, and then that's why he snores. He did like some big sleep study, and he was gonna have like something removed from his nose, and they're like, no, you just have a long tongue. That's why you snore.
That's so weird.
And then he made some weird cunnilingus joke, and I'm like, fuck you.
So
yeah, no major sleeper issues for me.
That's good.
You know, snore, and I feel like in the realm of sleep issues, is snoring really a sleep issue?
It is if it's sleep apnea. If you stop breathing, you can die in your sleep.
Yeah, I think death. Yeah, okay, death. If there's death involved in sleeping, yeah, that's a sleep issue.
I mean, well, snoring. The whole reason you snore is because you stop breathing, and your body needs to push that air out and in again.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's part of. That's what sleep apnea is a problem because. If you snore a lot, then that means that you're likely stopping breath in your sleep. So then you have to go to get tested to see if you have sleep apnea, and like they'll tell you, hey, you stopped breathing for 30 seconds, and that's why you were snoring so much.
That's pretty morbid.
Yeah.
That's
sorry,
not good then.
Did I just scare you? Are you gonna get like a sleep? You're gonna like, hey, I'm gonna go get a sleep study right now. Tell your family.
I'm gonna worry about my father now. Yeah.
Well, I mean it's a real issue, and some people have these machines. Like my dad has problems too. My mom's been trying to get him to go. She said the other night, like because she's a light sleeper, she could hear him stop breathing, and she counted how long it was. She like timed it to see how long. She's like, hey. You need to get this done. This is how long.
It sounds like this is a thing where you have to do like this. I know there's sleep studies for narcolepsy, but I'm wondering.
Are
there ones specifically for breathing?
Yeah, actually, I went to a new narcolepsy doctor, and they wanted, because I said I snore a little bit, they wanted to see if I had sleep apnea because there's a difference. Yeah. So then I went to get another sleep study done. So they have me stay overnight, and then you sleep in a room. They've got like a little TV, but they like ask you to go to bed at like 9 p.m. just like super early, and then you like sleep for like 8 hours, and then they monitor. So they told me like I snore like once every 1.6 hours, so it doesn't count as sleep apnea.
You're like a metronome.
Yes. Well, they had a very specific timing thing for it, but.
I'm wondering, do people snore? I'm wondering, when you snore, do you have better dreams or something? I'm curious if they've done.
I don't think it has anything to do with dreaming. I think, I don't know. I mean, really, you don't really notice that you snore until you have a partner, like someone sleeping next to you to tell you, hey, you snore a lot. Yeah. So for me, because I sometimes snore, I sometimes talk in my sleep, I just make sure that people I date are heavy sleepers. Like that's an early date question. Like that's a first date question I will ask.
I mean, for you, it's. I mean, have you found that relationships have struggled? I know. It looks like I'm turning over and I'm asking questions now.
No, that's fine. This is a conversation.
Have you found relationships suffer because of the snoring?
No, not really. Because I mean, it's not that bad. But there was like someone. There've been a situation where I was like maybe like talking to somebody and like we got to those early stages and like he was a super light sleeper, I'm like, okay, this is just not gonna work, and I just like stopped investing as much into that.
The will went away a little bit.
A little bit. He was a good guy though, but I think he's got somebody now, but it was a while back.
I dated a girl for a while who snored, but I found that
guys don't care as much.
Yeah, it didn't really bother me. I mean, I found that I slept through it, but I've never had a problem sleeping through anybody snoring.
Me either. So like, so for me, like ideally, if we're both like me and my partner are both like heavy sleepers, then it's nice.
But I noticed with light, like if the light shines on me, I wake up. So I've always thought that I'm kind of a light sleeper, but I'm wondering if it's just with certain things.
Maybe it's just with light itself instead of noise.
So I guess you can be a light sleeper for certain things and heavy sleeper for other things.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
It's complex. We're doing a sleep TED Talk right now.
I know, exactly. But you say that, do you have trouble when because you've been traveling doing comedy on the road, right?
Yeah,
a lot. So do you find that weird, or how are you enjoying that?
So the West Coast was interesting because when I was in San Francisco, I was sleeping on different beds and floors a lot. There was a lot of one night I slept on. So I San Francisco was like this. I was at a festival. So
what festival was it?
It was a South Asian comedy festival. I know, so niche specific for your audience.
Wow!
I don't know how many South Asians are out there. Hello.
I do have some. I do have quite a few listeners in San Francisco. So
yeah, it was the Desi Comedy Festival. If your San Francisco listeners know Samson Kolkadar, he's a very funny comic out there. Big ups to him for putting me up. They were so nice to put me up for the days I was performing. They were like, okay, you have a place to stay for those nights. And then one of the other festival producers said, okay, you're not performing these nights, but I'll put you up for 2-3 nights. So.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, so he had an air mattress. So I was a little worried going into that. I was like, oh man, I've not slept on an air mattress in a while. But I don't know, maybe it was just because I was also drinking a lot those nights. I found maybe I was just ready to knock out. So I think maybe that
you didn't even need to sleep. You just see him pass out.
And I was worried about my back, and like, you know, I'm very worried about like
You're very worried about your posture and your back.
I am. I would, because I've seen like people with back problems, and they just like, because you can't walk off a back problem. Like, walk it off. It's not happening. So I am genuinely like, people are like, what are you worried about? Having back problems, because that's one of those things where, like, you know, and I mean, I know, there are comics out there, this guy, Tommy Carner, who, like, he does this weird back thing where he just kind of grabs you and, like, does that thing. Like, I feel like that's, like, gonna, like, if I have a back problem and I go to him, he's gonna do that, and I'll be like Batman at the end of Dark Knight Rises, where I'm just like, oh, my back's gone. Like, I have this fear that, like, I'll try something to fix it, and it'll just, nope.
And then you can't walk.
And that'll be the end of the story. Like, it'll fade to black.
Ah, I see.
So
that's an interesting fear.
Yeah. So like, but like, you know, knock on wood. I know this is a couch, so I can't really knock on wood, but knock on plastic microphone. No problems, no pain from the air mattress. I don't know how have you felt with an air mattress?
I don't know. I don't think about it. I sleep everywhere. Like, I fall asleep on couches. I'll fall asleep anywhere. You know, like, it's not a big deal for me. So I never think about that. Sometimes back will hurt the next day or something,
But I mean, you also have an issue where literally. Like,
I could literally just sleep anywhere, anytime. So it's like, a lot of times, sometimes I'll sleep on the couch. But my TV's been broken, so I was watching, like, it stopped for the sound works, but the screen doesn't work. But that's been awesome because I've been so much more creative. Like, I've been writing, and so I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna leave it there and not get it fixed.
Do you fall asleep to podcasts? I was doing that for a while.
I listen to podcasts at work, so But wait, so let's go back to what you're doing with comedy stuff. So you've been traveling to California doing festivals, and you're opening up for Azar's show, right?
Yeah, so Azar Usman, he has a show called Ultra American. He's been doing a lot of stand-up over the last year about sort of, you know, race in America and his place as a Muslim. But he's kind of taken all this stand-up and he's formulated it into this one-man show. So it's like a play. Mm-hmm. But it's been interesting because I've seen him work on this material. I used to run this mic called People's Open Mic by Lincoln Park, and I've watched him kind of work on this material and You know, I've seen like the early stages of it, and to see it now like as like a play with music cues and all, it's very fulfilling to see that.
Well, that's great because he's saying something deeper, so it's not a full comedy show. He's got those moments. There's
moments of drama. There's some levity too. You know, he kind of takes you. Each kind of act has a build up, and then it crescendos. So yeah, it's not like a typical stand-up show at all.
That's what reminds me. So a lot of comics talk about like the specials that they saw like growing up as kids and those kind of things that reminded you. Well, because for some reason I wasn't that into stand-up as a kid. I really wasn't. And but my parents had HBO and Showtime, and sometimes I would just, because I wasn't allowed to watch them, so I would just take like a tape and hit record.
Okay.
And like watch the tape later, because you only had the cable in certain rooms.
Yeah.
So one of those things I recorded, they had two of, and I watched them over and over. John Leguizamo had 2 one-man shows.
He is known for a lot of one-man shows.
And so he did his Freak and Sexaholic, and I remember watching those as a kid. Yeah, I know.
And
Great.
I've never seen all of it, but I remember he like kind of
Just keep going.
Yeah, I don't want that to fall on my head. No, he spelled sexaholic weird, didn't he?
No,
Holics with the X or something?
Sexaholics, like plural. Like there's 2, more than one. But anyway, so I remember those because those were like one-man shows, because those had very serious moments, and then they had moments that were funny as well.
Yeah,
and so then those were something that I saw that I really liked. And so like as our show is kind of more like one of those.
Yeah, it is. It's very like, you know, it's also a little bit about his personal life too. So you get a sense of, you know, where he's coming from, his upbringing. There's a lot of I feel like I'm plugging his show, but I'm opening
we
for
should.
a couple
I was thinking of playing.
I mean, it's running from the Silk Road. I feel like I have to look up there. Silk Road Rising Theater up until it's like going on now till the 25th of September, and then I'm gonna be performing. I'll be opening up for him. He's had a couple of different people opening for him, so
cool.
I'll be performing on the 16th and the 24th, and
that's great.
But it was really nice. I got to be on his opening night. That was really nice of him to give me the opportunity. But it's been fun. And the Silk Road Rising Theater also is very unique. You know,
it's downtown, right?
It's downtown. It's in the Chicago like temple, which is this big church, and it's this like it's run by these 2 Middle Eastern men, and it's in a basement of a church. So. You know, sort of like the Christian Islam like headbutting thing. But it's like this church underneath. So they're doing a lot of stuff. It's the theme is they're looking for people that have Middle Eastern flavor, but they've had a lot of South Asian performers too. You know, they've had people from like, you know, East Asia as well. So it's kind of like, you know, the racial diaspora.
Yeah, I like that. And really cool. You seem to be involved in a lot of things that have with the festival, and then you've also got Simmer Brown too, that like celebrates diversity as well.
And I think that stuff is, you know, that stuff's important too, because I think a lot of people, they tend to be like, oh, is this like the Brown Comedy Hour or whatever?
Well, that's kind of rude to say.
People have said that. Yeah, people have said, hey, do you book white people on the show too? I'm like, yeah, we do book white people on the show, but I think what it is our show. I mean, at least the goal with my booking, and we've had discussions about this a little bit. My goal is to try to, book a show where you're seeing different comics, whether they're white, brown, black, whatever.
Yeah.
But you're not necessarily seeing them on the same lineup.
Mm-hmm. I agree, because a lot of times they'll only have, you know, they're one token diverse person, or they're one woman.
They'll have a slot where it's minority and or woman. Yeah. And I never understood that. Like, why is it only one slot?
See, we kind of reversed that a little bit in the show I run. We've been trying to, like, not book more than, like, one white male and try to see if we can do that.
Sure. I mean, that might happen just based on, you know. But I think what we're trying to do, and I think you're trying to do it too, is you're trying to book lineups that you don't necessarily see anywhere else.
Yeah.
You're putting people together that people won't see, and I think, you know, our scene will see that sometimes. Our comedy scene will be like, whoa, is this like the diversity hour? No, it's just our shows are so different from what they're used to seeing that they naturally think it's some sort of anti-white crusade. Yeah, like, it's just different.
Yeah, like the next show we've got R. Singh, we've got Jerry Tran, you know, we've got like,
a good dude.
You know, Alex Sullivan. So we got like a mix of people that are different, but it's not like, I'm not It's not the promote. That's not the reason.
Yeah, you're not trying to do it.
It's a show, and we just like to be diverse in our booking because we think that needs to be seen more.
Yeah, and you're not ham-fisting diversity.
No, we're not like, hey, this is what we're selling on the show. It's a show that has a different theme,
right? But
we just like to book that way.
and I've done theme shows. I did a show a couple years ago. It was called Arabian Nights. I didn't need to do that, but I wanted to. I needed the stage time back then. I think those type of theme shows might be more ham-fisted. Mm-hmm. Laugh Factory used to have a show called That Time of the Month. This is pre-Curtis. Curtis, if you're watching this, is pre your time. They had a show. It was like once a month. It was called That Time of the Month.
When it was women.
Yeah. There's something. I just saw an ad for something. I think it's like Women Can Be Funny Too. Or
God, I hate.
And I'm just like, it's 2016. We're above this shit.
Yeah, I remember what Lakeshore used to have. Oh, what was it called? It was kind of it was like, oh my God.
Femicomedy or something?
Yeah, it was something like that. And then they also had one for like LGBT, but it was like, oh, I forget. But the name was pretty like offensive. I can't remember exactly what the name is, but it might have been like, I don't know. It was something that looking back, I'm like, that was pretty offensive.
Hey, Ritter, wherever you are. No, Ritter.
No.
I mean, I'll say this. Like, the Lakeshore is kind of the reason I started stand-up.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Lakeshore with you because I was looking back through old emails and things like that because I was just, like, looking back because I wanted to get some posters. Yeah. And so I was looking back, and I think I found an email, you emailing about an internship.
I might have done that.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You email because you did an internship there, right?
I didn't do an internship.
No.
I think I might have answered one of the Craigslist ads for it because they used to post on Craigslist.
They just post it all the time. Yeah. It was just all the time. But like,
what was funny though is I was like, wait, I would get free tickets anyways because I was in college and they would give college students free tickets all the time.
They would get everybody free tickets. I mean, the thing was that Lakeshore is really cool because Ritter had a really good way of finding unique talent that was blossoming, and now these people are huge. Like bringing Reggie Watts and like Kristen Shaw,
skinny Reggie Watts when nobody would watch him.
Yes, exactly. And I saw him, and like it was.
I saw Mark Maron. There were 20 people in the crowd.
Yeah, Well,
and this was right after his second divorce, so he was like furious about that material.
Yeah, but it's just so different to see people, and I like Aziz. I saw there. I saw. I
didn't get to go to the one thing I'm kicking myself is I got tickets for Geraldo, but then I was sick and I couldn't see him.
Jim Jeffries when he was early on.
Early Jeffries. I saw Christian Finnegan.
Yeah, I saw him too.
Arj Barker.
Yeah, there's just a lot of cool talent that had grown and become something way bigger. That's
the first time I saw Comedians You Should Know. They used to do shows there on Friday.
Yeah, they did. They used to do that. And then they were also at Fizz for a while, too.
They were at Fizz, where they used to run the mics and all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they moved around a lot, but it was just really cool to kind of...
Robin Williams came there.
Yeah, he came several times. Yeah, he came several times, which he probably broke some kind of contract because he like had a sold out show at the Chicago Theater and then came at the end of a local show of a Lakeshore Theater. I think it was Christian Finnegan's show. He just showed up at the end of it and then he did like 30 minutes and
it was a drop in. Yeah,
it was awesome. And then he also dropped into the Town Hall Pub at
there was like video of that or something.
Yeah, and then he was very adamant about even then, like, hey, like, please put your phones away and enjoy this moment, like, in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciate about now with even what Dave Chappelle's been doing with that new technology to keep
that's
cell phones.
Really cool. It's like this weird, it looks like this weird, like, kangaroo pouch that's been ripped off. And then you have to, like, put your phone in it. You still get to keep your phone, though. It was so weird because I went to see Chappelle, and then you put your phone in it, and it's so big I couldn't put it in my pocket.
Oh, well, now you know how girls feel. Because we don't have any pockets ever in our jeans. So we can never put phones in our pockets. That's why we have to carry around fucking bags.
Well, I gave it, the girl I was seeing at the time, she put it in her purse.
See, exactly. This is why we have, guys complain about women having big purses, and then they're happy to put stuff in those big purses.
Okay, and a guy could get a purse. I know they make man purses now, but do girls like to see guys with those man purses?
I mean, like,
if you saw a guy, have you ever dated a guy with the man purse?
Well, I mean, not a man purse, but like a messenger bag or a backpack for sure. Because
so you're cool with the backpack.
Well, because, I mean, people I know, comedians, we're writers, we have things that were going on. Yeah. We need notebooks. Like, honestly, like, I
carry my backpack everywhere now, but I found there's a certain type of lady that feels that that's a step, like a regressive adult step. Like, oh, you're still like what are you, in college or something? Because I mean, if you're like, hey, I carry a notebook with me everywhere because I'm a comedian. That's my thing. Sorry, deal with it. I do explain that, but I found, like, you know, if I was like a KPMG, which is like, you know, the finance thing or whatever. If I had like the broy leather bag, people would be cooler with that. But you know, I don't want that. I'm taking the train, you know. I don't.
Yeah. I want to. Well, we're comedians. We're trying to make things work. We're kind of broke, you know. We need to do what we got to do. You know, it's not
kind of broke. Yeah, that's my life story.
Kind of broke.
Kind of broke.
Yeah, is that the name of your first album? Kind of broke.
Skimming the line between poverty, dancing on that line. It's gonna be like me doing a hopscotch on the poverty line itself.
But I think it makes you. I don't know. I think we're all trying to work towards something like bigger. You know, like I've got a day job now, which is nice, but like it's. I do like these creative temp jobs, so I know that they're temporary, so that way I can know that, hey, once it ends, I have time to work on other things, and I don't have to be so committed to the job. Yeah. It's like I've got commitment issues in, like, relationships and with job stuff. Because it's like, I want to do lots of things and not just sit at a desk and do 9 to 5. But I do like my job right now. It's a lot of fun. Like, I'm doing freelance stuff for DePaul, so that's cool.
That's my alma mater.
Oh yeah? I get to do a tour there on Monday.
Oh boy.
Well, because I'm going through all their photos and like editing and organizing their photos, and I don't know what a lot of the buildings are. So I'm gonna go on a college
student union. Oh, you have to go to like an actual. Like,
yeah, I'm going on a physical tour.
I thought you were giving one.
No. I'm going on a physical tour because I don't know, because I've seen all these buildings in the pictures and I had to organize them. So they're gonna have me go on a tour so I know what building's what. Hey, but you know, I get paid to go on a tour for an afternoon. Like, that's fun.
Yeah. You're probably getting paid from my tuition money, so you're welcome.
Oh.
Richardson Library.
Oh, yes. I'm familiar with that one.
Richardson.
And everything is like St. Vincent's something.
St. Vincent, Ray Meyer Fitness Center, you know.
Yeah, all
the Ray, yeah, because he was...
SAC.
The SAC.
Yes. Like, there's some things I know, but I don't know that well. But I've just been going through photos. Wait, when did you go there? Maybe I'll find photos of you.
Like 2005 to 2009.
I don't think I have any photos from that I went through. I'm going through like 2012 to current.
To current.
Which is like a lot. Yeah. But
that's a lot of years.
Yeah.
A lot of miles.
But anyway, so what'd you study in school? Did you study theater?
I never did anything with like studying theater. I mean, I did take a film class, actually. Funny enough, with Juliana, if you know her. Mm-hmm. We actually met.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the weird thing.
She went to DePaul?
She went to DePaul, too.
And who else? James Fisher also went to DePaul.
James Fisher, but I think he's... Yeah, I think I never overlapped with him.
And also, I think AJ Ludebecker, too.
AJ Ludebecker. I think Josh Edgeness goes there now. Maddie Ryan went there.
Oh. A lot of DePaul comics. We're just plugging all of them.
We could do a whole DePaul show. Oh, boy.
Well, why hasn't that been done?
Funny enough, I got to perform there last year. It was kind of this comedian Jenny Yang, who she's done Simmer Brown a couple times.
She sounds familiar.
Yeah, she worked with Margaret Cho a lot. And
okay.
So Margaret Cho gave us a shout out through Jenny Yang. So that was really
great.
Nice. So Jenny Yang was doing something there was an Asian fraternity that had just been accepted on campus. And so I got to perform in the multi-purpose room. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Haven't, but I will let you know after my tour.
But maybe there's pictures of that, because that was November of 2015.
Oh, gotcha.
So look up November 2015. Maybe you'll see a picture of me.
And so yeah, you've been doing a lot. Like I said, a lot of comedy, bigger shows and that kind of thing. How's that been going? Has that been pretty fun?
I think, it's one of those things where you can't forget the open mics and the shows. It's good to be able to do that and then, go back to the open mic that I run, or, go do a smaller show also. Like last week, actually. Well, no, even this week. Like I did Uzzer's show, and then I did a show in Aurora at the Roundhouse, and then yesterday I did a Claire Swanson show at Celtic Crown. So it's nice to be able to have that dichotomy of, hey, this is a big theater show, then this is a show at a brewery, and then this is a show at a basement.
It's nice to do, and it also keeps you humble too.
I think it does. No, I think it does.
Because if you're just doing like big shows all the time, then like you kind of, I think you people get like an ego about them in that way.
Sure, and I came from the school of thought, and I think you do too, and I think most comics in our scene, at least Chicago, do, is that stage time is a privilege. It's not a right.
Yeah.
And I value doing the shitty bar show just as much as the theater show.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting to see how people do react. Like, some people will give just as much energy or just as much thing, like, to a small small room, and some people treat it like you know what I mean? It's interesting to see who does what, you know? Because sometimes it's good
a lot of people phone, there's, what is that phrase?
Phone it in.
Phone it in. And
I don't like to do that, but I like to just try, if there's 4 people, or there's 10 people in the audience, or if there's like 60 people, if I could just make whoever laugh, Yeah. That's the goal. It doesn't have to be, or connect with them.
Yeah, and some comics will be like, there's old people here. My references aren't going to work. Well, no. Like, I think it's, I'm actually weird where I, like, look, if there's older people in the crowd, I'm always curious if older people are enjoying my material, because I feel like, there is that fear a little bit that I don't want to be a niche performer.
Yeah, but
I'm also looking to entertain everybody.
I'm also afraid, because a lot of people are doing college show stuff, and I'm like, oh, like, do I even, I'm not that much older, a couple years older, but, like, am I cool enough to connect to, like, 18-year-olds? Like, is that, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, like, I don't know if DePaul used to do, like, a coffee shop mic that anybody could sign up for. I think that would be kind of a great way to gauge. I think it's just interesting, like, because we have some younger people in the scene, but not. We do. I notice now, especially, we have a lot more younger, underage, like, 20-year-old comics.
Yeah, and it's so weird. It's like, I mean, it's great. I mean, and I'm like, why didn't I do that when I was 20? Why was I doing improv? Like, what was my deal? I worked at Lakeshore Theater. Why was I still convinced that improv was what I should have done?
I mean, and I've had those feelings too. I think with me, I'm more like, I'm glad I got to live a little bit of life before doing stand-up, because I think you need those experiences too, at least for me.
So, yeah, and I agree, because, who was I? I think I was talking to Bobby about this, Bobby Hill, like, when you start older, you have so much more life experience that it's...
You have things you can draw on.
Like someone like Monk, who hasn't been in it, like, super long, but is fucking awesome. Like, he's like 5 or 6 years or something.
Yeah, but and again, he has this wealth of life to draw upon, so he'll never run out of material. Whereas somebody who started in their 20s or younger, they might, it might turn into a lot of their material is just about stand-up, and that's something I definitely... That's just my personal cup of tea, that I don't want to just do stand-up about stand-up.
Yeah, you gotta live life. But that's why I think a lot of mine is, like, relationships, because, like, what else do I have time for? Oh, yeah, stand-up and writing and other things. And it's like, and kind of relationships, but most of the time it's just like, oh, yeah.
Kind of relationship. Is that the name of your album?
Kind of relationship, yeah. Yeah, we're in a kind of a thing. Well, I don't really have time for, like, real relationships. It's like, comedy is the number one thing in my life right now. Like, that's my biggest relationship. And
yeah, I'm kind of in that mode right now.
And it's like, whoever I date or see or kind of see or whatever,
they need to understand.
They get it. I let them know kind of upfront, like, look, like, and this is what's going on. I might move in the next year. I don't know. Like, don't get too, like, basically I'm just, like, prefacing, like, hey, don't get too attached.
Right. Like, and you're doing that for yourself, too, to, like, hey, I don't want to get too attached.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It can be a distraction. I was talking to a friend who had a TV audition for, like, a late night set a couple years ago, and he truly, but, like, he just started seeing a new girl, and he believes that fucked up his audition, because he was kind of in the new route. You know how, like...
But he blamed her?
No, not her. He blamed himself for getting into a new relationship right before a TV audition.
Oh.
Because he felt like he was more focused on... Like, he was preoccupied with the new relationship. There's that new excitement when you get into a new thing.
Oh, yeah, the new relationship,
what
is it? Yeah.
It's a gumbo of excitement and worry also at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're like, oh, I don't want to fuck this up, and that worry needs to be focused on the TV audition.
Yeah, that's how I feel about certain opportunities or certain things. Like, if I'm working on a bit that I think's a little bit more risky, or like that I'm afraid to do, but it, like, ends up being a good bit, Like, I think those are kind of fun.
Absolutely.
And but yeah, relationships. I don't know. I haven't really had, like, a relationship, I would say, since I've been doing stand up. So I've been single for a while, guys.
That's the name of your new album.
Single-ish. Single-ish.
That sounds like a Fox sitcom, to be honest.
Single-ish.
And you're like, ugh.
And I'm just like, what can I do? Who's gonna find a way to make me decide, yeah, I want to date you and marry and have kids and do all that stuff.
That stuff.
That stuff. Have 2.5 kids and a golden retriever and move out to the suburbs.
I never understood why they say 2.5.
I think it's because it's an average. Like, that's, Americans' average.
Way to cut down literally a kid. Cutting a kid in half.
They don't mean a midget kid.
Yeah, they just mean like a half kid. Like he's cut off from the thigh or something.
Yeah, but what about... So comedy's the main thing for you right now?
Yeah, that's definitely the focus right now. There's two... I've been on the road so much that it's just like... Literally in August... I went from, so the end of July, I was in San Diego. Then I came back for a couple days. Then I went to Asheville, North Carolina. From Asheville, I came back, and then I came back on the 12th. That was an insane day. We drove from Asheville to Chicago.
Oh, God.
That's like...
15?
With breaks, it was about 13 hours. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
And I don't know why the friend I was with, she had a car... But her parents were like, no, you're going to rent a car. I'm like, I don't have the money for rental. So her parents paid for the rental. So we had to drive.
Why didn't you just fly to Asheville if you already had to pay for a rental?
Flights were expensive.
Really?
Yeah. It was costing me pretty. I already had paid for my San Francisco.
Oh, yeah, because if you got a lot of traveling.
Yeah. And I could have done name your own price on Priceline, but...
Those are so risky, I think.
Well, the thing with that is, you don't know when you're flying out. So unless you choose the day before, you're getting fucked.
Oh, whoa, yeah.
And for a festival, it's not like you're just going there for a vacation where you can modify vacation plans. I can't modify the time I'm performing on a festival.
See, this is why I think I just need to find someone to date that works for an airline. Like that would be... Now, that's somebody that could maybe tie me down a little bit. But
date George Clooney's character from Up in the Air. He's got all those freaking
Yeah. Just frequent flyer miles or something where I can, like, fly for, like, super cheap.
Oh, he's probably an alcoholic then if he's a pilot. So.
Why do you assume that he's an alcoholic if he's a pilot?
Isn't there, like, a study done that most pilots are alcoholics?
I don't know.
Just watch Flight starring Denzel.
It's probably the same study that says, like... Dentist, the occupation that most people consider suicidal.
Dentist?
Thoughts. Yeah. Like, dentists have the most suicidal thoughts or tendencies than any other profession.
I think it's an admirable profession. I mean, teeth, because, you can't, there's no WebMD for teeth. It's that, like, you got gum disease, they got to get in there.
Yeah.
I respect the hell out of dentists. That's because I'm like, I could never see myself doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, big ups to you. Or, like, truck drivers that can back a rig into, like, a narrow space.
Oh, gosh, I could never do that.
Big ups to that.
So there's just some things you're just like, yeah.
Don't kill yourself.
I'm giving you a Facebook like in my head for doing that.
I don't know why I've been saying big ups. Like, that's something.
Big ups.
That's, ugh. What am I, a rapper from the 80s or something?
And what's on your wrist?
This,
He's a beaded orange, for podcast listeners, he's got a beaded orange bracelet that has a couple other special beads in the middle.
Yeah, so there's a Hindu ceremony called Raksha Bandhan. It's done between brothers and sisters, and we recently, I believe it was in late August, but I'd been on the road. Again, we keep talking about how I've been on the road, but I haven't.
Hey, if you know anything about Prateek, I've been on the road.
I've literally been on the road.
He's a road comic. He's been on the road.
Most of August, I was literally on the road, so we couldn't celebrate this, me and my sister, so we did it in
Celebrate.
September.
Is it like every year?
It's specifically a ceremony for brothers and sisters to celebrate. There's the sister gets paid. We ceremoniously give them money.
Like, how much money do they get?
I mean, you give what you give.
Wow, that's crazy. So they just get, is it every year? Or is
it's annually, yeah. It's a religious thing. So the ceremony involves, then it's like an offering, and then they tie this. This is sort of like to symbolize the bond between siblings.
Oh, I didn't know that they had a sibling ceremony. That's kind of cool to keep your siblings close and...
Yeah, and I am very close to my sister. I think just naturally I do that.
Just you and your sister?
Yeah, so like, but I have like female cousins also. So like, I think if you have like a female cousin also, you can do it with them. But this is the one that I keep wearing right now because it's my sister's.
Now, do like if there are no sisters, if it's just brothers, do they still do it?
No, they just. I mean, if they have female cousins, like then they'll just go to their female cousins.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. But it's like it involves you have to have a sister, a female. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. I always think it's interesting how separate they have some of those things because I've photographed a couple weddings back in the day, like where they had
have you photographed any Indian weddings?
Yeah, like where they had the men and the women had to sit in different sections for the ceremony.
Yeah, some of that I know. Like they'll kind of keep them separated.
Yeah, I went. The one I did, there was like the upstairs was where they had the men sit. I think the women sit downstairs. I mean, there's like 4 days of ceremonies, so it's very complicated. Yeah,
there's the intro, the engagement.
There's the henna tattoo ceremony.
Women will get that all around their palms for people. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm describing how it is, but they'll get that the henna. It's a design. Usually, it's intricate. Bridesmaids will do that too. Mm-hmm. The moms of the
and it just takes a really long time, but it looks amazing.
It looks amazing. It's like 5 hours, I think.
Give me a second. It's all right. Yeah, and then there's also I love the colors. That's
the colors, the colors have different representations. Usually like wealth and health and all, like you know what you say in like a Western wedding, like till death do us part, for sickness and health. That's what the colors kind of represent. Oh. They kind of they walk around a ring of fire and they hold like a ribbon that signifies the bond through like ups and downs. There's so many things. Like certain families do like a thing where the groom comes from like a horse or an elephant or something. I really want to do. I think
you're like, hey, what would you do? What would be your ideal animal that you jump off of?
Oh, a horse for sure.
It would be a horse.
I got to see in New York. I got to see this groom. He was doing these cousins. I have these weird distant cousins who they throw money around like it's an extravagance. So they did one of their weddings at the what's the one that Trump owns? Waldorf or Astoria or whatever it's called.
Waldorf Astoria. What's it called? Waldorf Astoria. That's a very nice Waldorf Astoria.
What's the one from Home Alone, too?
That one is the Plaza.
So they did it there. Mm-hmm. They did their wedding there.
I love that. That's how you do. You're like Home Alone 2. I know you'll get this reference.
Yeah.
The Plaza.
The Plaza.
By the way, the Plaza does not have a pool like they do in Home Alone.
That's a lie. Home Alone 2.
Home Alone 2 lied to us.
Fuck you, Christopher Columbus. Both Columbuses can go to hell.
Both Christopher Columbus.
One of them committed genocide, and the other one
lied to us and ruined her childhood.
They ruined the Plaza Hotel. And this fucking cousin, he rode in on a horse, like Christopher Columbus did, except he was riding down fucking 7th Avenue on a horse. And cars were still on the road, so the cars stopped. They're like, what's going on? Why is this man just like Aladdin driving down the street? Because you've seen like.
So wait, what are the outfits like?
I mean, there's a thing called like a kurta, which is kind of like this long shirt that a male Indian will wear. It's a long.
You said it looks like Aladdin?
I mean, it looks like. I think you could. I mean, I'm making this. I'm kind of speaking in a way that people might understand better. But yeah, it looks like something out of Aladdin. And then they wear like there's a headdress that the men wear. It looks like a turban. Looks like a crown. Looks like something from the Aladdin like parade.
And do you also take part of other things for the religion? Do you do the fasting?
I've fasted before for certain high holidays. I'll do that. If there's like a major holiday, I'll not eat meat. I'll try to honor that a little bit. I don't, my we could go on and on about spirituality. You know what I mean? At this point, I look at my celebrating these traditions out of respect for family.
Okay.
I take away less of the I will go to hell or I'll be punished if I don't do it.
So you don't feel the guilt.
I don't feel the guilt. It's purely to just respect people that came here before me who had to do this under less ideal circumstances.
Gotcha.
And out of respect for their struggle, I am doing it now because it's very easy. It's very easy, for example, when my father came here, he didn't eat beef, so to go to McDonald's back then, what was he going to eat? Fries only? Now, it's very easy to not eat meat.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, there's so many more, and there's a lot of restaurants.
Now,
and even me, like I still sometimes when I go to my Thai restaurant that I love, I'll end up getting tofu because I like it because it's good.
Like those same people that made when I went to Hot Lunch in the '90s, and they were like, "Oh, you don't eat meat," and they chased me around with a hamburger. Those same people now are vegan. So to me, I don't see the need to. Now, especially, it makes no sense to eat it. For me. So I don't view it out of some like guilt. It's purely out of like, this is how I grew up, and I don't have a taste for it. So why start now? Gotcha. And I can see how.
So you don't have a taste. So are you vegetarian? Wait, hold on.
So I don't eat red meat.
You don't eat red meat.
Well, no, I eat lamb. That's red meat technically. So I don't eat beef specifically.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And the reason I don't eat it
because the cow is sacred. No.
Yeah, there's in the mythology the cow is considered sacred. My reasonings are less mythological and less guilt based. It's more like I've eaten it by accident, but I'm not gonna be like, oh, unclean and like spit it out. I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah.
What, like, yeah, like...
I will actively try not to, if somebody's eating... I was talking to another buddy of mine who doesn't eat beef, and he was like, yeah, I went to this conference to perform at a private gig, and all they had... He'd driven like 3 hours to get there, and all they had were beef sandwiches on the table. And he was like, well, fuck, I'm hungry, so I'll just eat this. Like, I have no other choice. It's not out of... And it's purely not a religious thing. It's like, he's not going to hell because he needs to eat, otherwise he'll not be able to perform.
Exactly.
So, it is that thing of... And I realize most people don't think like that. A lot of people are like, you either do this thing or you don't do this thing.
That drives me nuts. Just about things in general. You know, like, you're either this way or you're that way. There's a lot of in-between stuff. There's not... And
I think maybe comics might... Because there is that thing about comics, I'm either an atheist or I'm not. And I found that you can also not know. Yeah. Or you can also be part and take part in religious traditions of your family. I truly believe that if you're close to your family, you might do things and the religious implications really maybe aren't...
Well, it's more about community at certain levels. Like, I mean, like... We didn't go to church a lot growing up. I mean, we tried, but we went out of town a lot. And so then my parents, like, kind of felt guilty for not going consistently.
Right.
And, like, there's other things that they would do. But I think it also comes down to, like...
So for Christianity, this might be a silly question, but like you can't worship without going to church. Can you worship?
No, I think traditionally with like Catholicism and stuff, you're supposed to be going to church. You're supposed to, with Catholics specifically, you're supposed to, confess your sins.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go to church every week. With Christianity more in general, and it's become a little bit more liberal, like you don't have to go, but it is like a thing. They like people to go every week, and there's this very big social element to it. So like going to church, there's a community. So especially in smaller towns, like people go, they have plays through the church, they have activities, they have church sponsored events.
They made it more.
They make it. So for a lot of people I knew growing up, like they would go to church events and they would go to church because that's where their community was. Like that's where their family and their friends. It's how they made friends. It's through church, or they do church camp, or they did, because there were churches that have so many programs that they don't, like that schools might not have, or athletic programs, or programs for
being
plays.
More about I think it's good to have more of an outreach.
So I think there's bigger. I think it's a bigger thing. I think but I think our generation coming up is a lot less religious, and I think that.
I don't know if it was just anybody who kind of grew up in the 90s. Maybe just religion in the 90s was kind of forced and...
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, actually somebody... Oh, I forget who was doing... Somebody was doing a joke 2 nights ago at a mic, and they were just like, hey, I want everyone in the room who was raised Catholic to clap their hands. And, like, a couple people clap their hands.
Yeah.
And now I want you to clap your hands if you're still Catholic. And nobody clapped. But I think it's also... I think a lot of it is because of the judgment that comes with the religion.
The rigor more of doing certain things.
Yeah, or saying, hey, like...
Because Catholicism has fasting, too. They have Lent and all.
Yeah, or we don't believe in birth control.
Yeah.
Or we don't believe in, homosexual... Or we
rights for everybody.
And it's just like, it's like, for that stuff, I'm just like, screw that. I don't need to be part of something that doesn't,
right.
do that. And so I think that's part of it was because the way Christianity is kind of set up initially, and there's a lot more liberal churches now. But because we're growing up in that era where things were happening and churches were either ignoring it, or
and then I think a lot of it is also when you're teaching these things, like it's good to kind of give a significance to to this, like especially in Sunday school or something. If someone's asking, I had friends who took Sunday school and they'd be like, ask like, why is this the thing? And the teacher wouldn't have it. It's like just because.
Oh, that's why I was gonna get confirmed.
Yeah.
And when I was 13, that's how you get confirmed. You make a choice to like be a Catholic or whatever. Yeah, and so I went to classes, and I was that person. I would ask questions that they couldn't answer for me, and then I told my mom and dad, hey, I'm not feeling this. Can I just not do it? And they were thankfully like, okay. And so then high school, I would just go. I had some Jewish friends, so I went to temple with them sometimes. I went to Buddhist temple for a little bit. Once I got a car, I started going to different places.
So you sought out other.
Yeah, and I went to Unitarian church. Okay. I read about Taoism. I consider myself Taoist for the first couple of years of college. Yeah, so I was really into finding out about myself and what I believed. And the things I found I connected with the most were more philosophies than actual religion. I think religion, maybe the definition needs to be updated, because I feel like a lot of it is like seems like rules, and I always say
I think people tend to subscribe to organized religions, but there's a way to be spiritual. You're seeking more of a spirituality without the tenets of organized religion.
Yeah, exactly, because I don't want them to be like, hey,
so like maybe like a Baha'i faith or something.
I know what I believe morality is. I know what I believe is good and bad. I think that yes, lying overall is bad, lying to be deceitful. But you know what? There's good lies too, you know? And I'm not gonna, I'm just saying, like, if the next girl you date's like, hey, how do I look at this dress? Like, like there's some ways where lies are okay. Or if someone's going through a hard time, being like, hey, it's gonna be okay, even if you don't know it's gonna be okay. Right, like, there's like other good lies, or just lies that just complicate things less. God, I'm gonna sound like I lie a lot. I don't lie a lot.
Those are called white lies.
White lies. Wait, yes.
They are.
That is odd. That's. I never thought about that. That's white lies.
They're good lies.
Yeah.
Can't spell families without lies.
Ooh.
Lie to your family. That's that. You take anything else away from this podcast, lie to your family.
Lie to your family. What do you lie to your family about?
Not much actually. These days I'm pretty honest.
Okay. You made it sound like you have to lie to your family a lot.
I think that if lying serves a greater purpose, like, I mean, some people have to lie to do stand-up.
Well, some people lie about, like,
I met a comedian at the festival who they haven't told their parents that they do stand-up.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I don't know.
I'm thankfully really open with my parents, but I know that some people, like, have lied about relationships they're in, or like won't introduce the people to their family, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
How often, like, in your previous relationships, have you introduced them to their parents? Like, is that something that you find significant?
I would say 2 were real relationships. One was this guy I was dating that I thought was going to turn into a relationship. Like, it was like a 3-month or something, but that did not end up working out. So I would say 3 people I've ever introduced my parents to. Wait. There was one that was unintentional just because my parents were in town, and it wasn't a big deal. Like, the other ones were more like
formal.
Not formal, but yeah, it was more of a big deal. Then there was this one other guy who, like, really liked me, and I think he just... whatever. Anyways. But...
this is like Dr. Phil or something.
No, like, he was...
I mean, were you kind of leading it... Like, not leading on, but you wanted to introduce them? Or they wanted to? 2 of them I wanted to, and those were my long relationships. There was a guy I dated for, like, 1.5 years. And I think that's long enough, for sure.
But, and then there was a guy I dated for, like, 5 years, so yeah. Like, they definitely met, but, like, we had, like, Christmases and Thanksgivings and all that stuff together.
That makes sense,
But like, the first time I met his parents. What about you? Like, do you introduce?
I've not yet introduced anyone. But I mean, the longest relationship I've been in is only, like, 13 months.
13 months.
Yeah.
Wow. What? Yeah. Is that mostly because of comedy stuff, or just?
I think it's probably through comedy stuff. There's been a variety of reasons why the relationships have not worked out. Comedy stuff. It could be. I know when I was in college, it was probably my own maturity.
Oh yeah, guys in college are dicks, and then they think that they're being, like, in general. I'm not saying you were a dick, but I'm just saying overall. Yeah. Like, we're all idiots in college. Like, I look back and I was like, yeah, I was an idiot.
But I definitely think comedy's definitely played a big part in, it can affect relationships, especially, initially it was a lot of like, oh, so you have to do this, like, what, every night? I'm like, Yeah. Because I think because I didn't have a performance background when I started open micing. I had to go up every night because I was coming from a place of getting over stage fright. Gotcha. Which is a thing people don't think about. When people are like, hey, how'd that guy get faster at stand-up? Well, were they in a band? Did they do a lot of plays?
I didn't think about that.
I do think that, your first 3 years, you're trying to just get comfortable on stage. And if you have somewhat of a foundation in performing, it may help.
I didn't think about how much easier that might have been. Yeah, because I had been performing for a long time, so. But I forget that some people come from a thing where they've never been on stage. Performing.
Yeah.
They've never been on stage before.
Yeah. But I didn't do plays in high school. I didn't really do much. I did a couple like sketches in college, but by then I was already interested in stand-up. Like I started stand-up somewhat in college, but yeah, it wasn't until college I did anything on stage. I used to be afraid of public speaking. Yeah. Oh, wow. Like in high school, I hated public speaking. That's crazy. Even in college also, I didn't like giving
speeches,
so,
But so do your parents ever ask about, like, girls? Like, are they wanting to meet girls? Or is that a very serious thing? You're like, hey, if I introduce you, then that means we're probably going to get married.
I mean, no, it's not like that. I think they've been... I think their concern now is just, like, at some point, it'd be nice if you get married. Because in our minds as parents, you need to be married to be happy. Because I think I think we all want some sort of companionship, so I think their concerns are just like, hey, you should have some companionship and be happy. Yeah. But there's no pressure or anything, and I think
that's good.
And that's a stereotype. That's an ugly stereotype of South Asian culture. Is people think that parents just need everybody to get married immediately. Mm-hmm. My parents aren't like that.
That's good. My parents aren't like that either. Thank goodness.
And I know it's obviously a double standard for women.
Yeah, it's a little different, but thankfully my parents aren't like that. They're not like itching for grandkids. They're not like, they knew I was in a long thing, and it took me a long time to get over, and it was really hard. Maybe that's part of it. I thought that was a guy I thought I was going to get married to. Like, we lived together, and like he was the guy I thought I was going to have kids with, and that kind of thing. And now I'm so fulfilled with other things that I'm like, oh, like, maybe I'll have kids. Like, if it works out and timing's great, then that's fine, but I think I could be very happy and have a fulfilling life without children, sure. Because I've got a lot of friendships and, other types of relationships and other people in my life that.
And that's just right now you're thinking, like, you may want kids, like.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure I'll have kids, but, like, now I'm more on the fence, which is...
I think it's also important to have kids when you're ready to be able to take care of them and you're able to, like, put aside certain goals.
I mean, I want to be so selfish for, like, the next, like, 10 years and then maybe have kids.
I mean, like, you see these comedians who have kids that do stand-up, and I'm just like, how do they... Do it? I mean, you look at people like Kristen Toomey is a very funny Chicago comedian, but I know that her kid's a little bit older, so I think that makes it a little bit easier. It's harder when your kids are, 1 or 2 to kind of... I know.
See, that's the thing. Like, I think I just want to... I don't know. I think I do want them sometime, but the thing is, like, it's like when you're in love, you're like, oh yeah, I want to have, but when you're not in love, you're like, maybe I could...
Right.
But yeah.
There's that old, Gotta have a team for these kids.
I know, you gotta do that. Well, yeah, lots of different things. But I don't know. I think people think comedians are lonely, but I don't feel lonely.
No, not these days. And I think traveling's kind of helped me. I think for me, like the traveling, just getting to do more stuff on the road, that's been helpful for loneliness because there is that feeling of getting burned out in one place.
That's why I like doing stand-up other places, like even in the suburbs or like another city.
Oh yeah, it doesn't have to be specifically.
It kind of refreshes you.
It's refreshing. You're meeting new people, so I think just the idea of meeting a lot of people, even if you don't form long-lasting relationships with those people, it makes you feel less lonely. I think.
Yeah, and you can. I think that there's lots of different types of relationships. I think you can. I definitely have very close, intimate relationships with people that I'm not like physically intimate with, but they're intimate relationships. Does that make sense? They know me on a very deep level.
Sure, and that's what stand-ups.
Yeah. And then I've got other intimate relationships that they don't know me on a deep level at all, but it's very, very fun in that way.
Yeah, boy.
But,
The weird dichotomy of it.
I know. When? I shared a lot that time. I shared a lot the last little bit, but...
Been like some therapy.
What? Yeah.
Except we weren't on a couch, we were on a bed.
Yeah. I feel like when you lay down, you share more personal things.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, now that we're winding down with the podcast, I always like to ask people, like, I know we talked a little bit about sleep earlier. Ask, like, what your dreams are for your future.
Actually, like, having dreams?
Hopes and dreams.
Just want to keep living and doing stand-up, keep traveling.
Yeah.
I have a buddy who's doing a comedy festival right now in Russia. I'd love to be able to go to Russia.
Oh, wow.
I got to meet
Would you be worried about them understanding you?
So I'm finding, I did this festival, the Desi Festival. Like I met some comics from India. You know, they have English speaking shows. You know, they have a variety show of like. So I feel like Russia, India, all these like Eastern areas, they are understanding that English is a link language, especially to do business overseas, and also I feel like there's enough of an English speaking population that I'll go over well.
Oh.
And also, like, I'd like to see. I mean, it's going to be...
Russia would be amazing.
Russia would be interesting. Being able to travel for comedy, specifically.
I want to do the Edinburgh Fringe.
That would be cool.
I love Edinburgh, and I've been there while the Fringe was happening, but I wasn't in it.
You wasn't able to see shows.
Like, I was able to see shows, but I wasn't doing comedy at the time. I wasn't doing stand-up at the time.
Okay.
So...
And I think the way they model the shows were, like, you're doing an hour with no opener.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's all on you. You got to bring it.
But that's so cool though. It's so that's an awesome opportunity.
Oh yeah, and a lot of it is one person show type stuff.
Yeah,
it blends that line of stand up, which is kind of what else.
Which I like. Yeah. You ever want to do one person show?
I'm definitely interested. I have a couple ideas. I'm kind of mulling around right now.
That's good.
Yeah. I would like to do some one person show stuff. I feel like if I do it though, I'd want to incorporate some visual stuff too.
Yeah.
To it.
Yeah,
I have a couple ideas, especially watching others. Keep going back to others thing, ultra American.
But we can plug stuff you're in too. Yeah. Other things that you're doing.
Yeah, but I do. Watching a show has definitely been inspiring, and I do have a couple ideas I'm mulling over right now.
Well, that's really cool. Yeah. So, those are some pretty good goals. Well, thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Sarah.
And we always end by going to sleep. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks so much for listening to Sleeping with Sarah. I've been Sarah Albritton, and I just slept with Prateek Srivastava. You can catch Prateek at the Silk Road Theater on September 16th, as well as September 23rd at Simmer Brown Comedy, and follow him at The Daily Prateek. If you like the podcast, please rate and review on iTunes and subscribe. This podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Please go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah. I'm releasing a new podcast each week. Be sure to tune in to find out who I have in bed with me next. Thanks to Josh Bryant for the music. You can also view the video on YouTube or follow me on Twitter at Sarah Albritton. Until next time, good night.